Oscar De La Hoya takes credit for building top PBC fighters in his latest interview. And we're going to talk about that. He also says PBC is losing money, yada, yada, yada. All that and more. Stay tuned to your boy. I'll be back. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App. That's $Boxingego, and the Patreon family. We working. Thank you guys for the support, and we got to talk about it. Oscar De La Hoya, he did a recent podcast interview, said some really interesting things, and I want to talk about that on this side, the real side. So, buckle up, smash the like button if you're new, subscribe. I drop daily content. Let's get it. So, these are the quotes, and De La Hoya is claiming credit. He's claiming credit for building the PBC fighters, top guys. He says, and I quote, "I built them. On the other side of the street, the PBC, you have a bunch of fighters that just don't want to fight, and it's not because of them, it's because of who's controlling the ship there. The PBC group has their own agenda. I don't know what that agenda is because they keep losing money, literally. Perfect example is the Leo Santa Cruz and Davis fight. And before that, they lost money somewhere else and somewhere else. I don't know how long they could keep it up. It's hurting the sport. We can make so many good fights together, and we've done it together with Fox and ESPN working together on Wilder Fury. We should do it more often. Bob Arum of Top Rank loves making the fights, but we've worked with every single promoter out there and had no issues whatsoever. The only issue we've had is with the PBC for some reason, and I don't dislike them. What I'm saying is Leo Santa Cruz, Danny Garcia, what is going to happen is relying on the champions that they have now. But what happens when the champions get old and they retire? They don't have the next wave because they don't know how to build. So that's maybe a ship that sails away and try to do great, but they just couldn't. End quote. Now, Oscar De La Hoya sounds absolutely deluded, in my honest opinion. I mean, he's saying that the PBC guys, they're doing it all wrong and losing money. But you just lost Canelo Alvarez, who we all know by far is your biggest star. There was no other fighter. If you try to say anything other than what I'm saying, then you don't know ish about boxing. There was no other fighter in recent times that has signed with Golden Boy in the last 2-3 years bigger than Canelo. Canelo sued and got a settlement and parted ways with Golden Boy. So out of all things going on in this world, pandemic and Golden Boy losing Canelo and things of that sort, why on earth would your focus be on the next person's brand and or losing money? Hypothetically, I don't believe what De La Hoya is saying, but hypothetically, let's say they were losing money. Why is that any of your concern when you just lost your biggest cash cow and moneymaker? So you guys got to look between the lines when people are telling you things, right? And determine if it even makes sense to you what they are saying. Again, the whole world knows that you just lost Canelo. That's a detrimental blow to your company. But you're talking about the next company and their moves and their lost leaders and who they're losing. And I just watched the fight yesterday. Check out the post-fight reaction video of Javier Fortuna. He looked great. He looked sharp. Lightweight division is lit, right? On that, they promoted their next big fight, which is Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Again, study, listen to what people say, tell me if it sounds consistent, and tell me if it makes sense. You just lost Canelo, but you worried about what the PBC's doing. Another thing is, listen to the opening statement. De La Hoya says, and I quote, "I built them," meaning the top guys at PBC, you know, the Abner Matas, Leo Santa Cruz, etc., Wilder, Errol Spence. He said he built them. But Leo Santa Cruz named his son after Al Heyman, right? Here is a screenshot that I captured after Errol Spence defeated Mikey Garcia in a one-sided beatdown and had put 50,000 plus in the AT&T Stadium at Jerry's World. De La Hoya tried to, you know, congratulate Errol Spence and told him to sign the Golden Boy. De La Hoya said, and then it was a post and delete. See, the dates, you know, people could say whatever they want, but everything, the proof is in the pudding. You know, this is from March 17th, 2019, last year. Again, right after Errol Spence spanked Mikey Garcia. De La Hoya says, at Errol Spence, congratulations on your victory, meaning Mikey Garcia. If you want to make real money, let me promote your next fight on DAZN. And Errol Spence did work under the Golden Boy banner with PBC beforehand. This is his response to De La Hoya soliciting a signed fighter to switch sides and work with him. He says, "You don't treat black fighters well, brother." So you have a black fighter in Errol Spence who dominated Mikey Garcia, looked great, and was then solicited as a signed fighter, which, you know, I don't even know if that's legal, but whatever. And this is his response. "You don't treat black fighters well, brother." So that's basically politely saying no and stating the reason. So for De La Hoya to be talking about making a comeback, talking about signing people, then how come Errol Spence did you like that? Now, Oscar De La Hoya, the fighter, great fighter, never ducked nobody, resume stellar, Olympic gold medalist. What can I say? Oscar De La Hoya, the businessman, maybe he's losing his touch. We don't know. But Leo Santa Cruz just got a big payday, an opportunity. His house looks fat, and he named his son Al. Errol Spence is about to, you know, post-crash, not take a tune-up and fight a major fight. Danny Garcia, who's been on the roster and was under Golden Boy at a point in time, right? Big major fight. Meanwhile, the biggest stars the biggest star, Canelo Alvarez, just left. He just left the Golden Boy imprint. Now they got people like Virgil Ortiz, but we don't even know when he's coming back. His last fight was PBC leftovers, a guy who fought Amir Khan, a guy who lost by stoppage to Danny Garcia and Errol Spence. So that's the best fight that you were able to get, Virgil Ortiz. And with the pandemic, we don't know when he's even coming back. Javier Fortuna just fought yesterday on FS1. He was supposed to fight against Jorge Linares. So what is De La Hoya even talking about? The Jorge Linares Javier Fortuna fight, that was a good fight, but it fell apart, right? Fell apart. They said Linares was sick. So that's multiple fighters on DAZN, main event, Alexander Povetkin, you know, for Golden Boy, Javier Fortuna, all these fighters getting sick, you know, and the fight's being canceled. You just lost Canelo. Ryan Garcia, he's fighting Luke Campbell, and that they pushed it back to January. And it was initially supposed to fight the day of Errol Spence, Danny Garcia. They said Luke Campbell too got the Rona, but I believe that they didn't want to compete with Errol Spence, Danny Garcia. So De La Hoya looks out of his element. Floyd Mayweather for years shamed Oscar De La Hoya and said, "Richard Schaefer, he the real Golden Boy, not Oscar. I like Richard." That's what Floyd was saying. Now De La Hoya is trying to claim credit for guys like Deontay Wilder. And the funny thing is, Deontay Wilder, after Golden Boy and Golden Boy had parted ways, he got bigger. I don't even know how many people knew Deontay Wilder at the time. Now he got almost 3 million followers. But when he was with Golden Boy, who was even his last fight, you know? What was Deontay Wilder's last fight with Golden Boy. I don't even know if this will come up. This is Deontay Wilder's last fight with Golden Boy. He's signing. I don't even know what fight this is. So, whatever this was in 2015, 5 years ago, that was his last fight with Golden Boy. And then Wilder, this is the Roberto Diaz matchmaker. So, January, so probably I guess the Stavern fight. That sounds about right. The Stavern first fight. But Wilder, hold on, what is he talking about? Wilder in 2015, he said, Golden Boy was family. I have kids to look for. I still love those guys. So that was in 2015. I ain't heard him say anything since then about Golden Boy, you know? And guys like Jermell Charlo said he was making $100,000 and they didn't want to sign his brother. But meanwhile, under PBC, he's definitely made good money and had great opportunities. He has the best resume at 154, and his brother got signed to show how good he is. And I have this on tape, you know. I have this on tape because I was next to Charlo in Vegas when he said that. You know, I didn't spot check all this stuff, so I don't have all the links, but take my word for it. Take my word for it. I'm a reporter. This is what I do. You could probably find it. You guys look. We promoted Deontay Wilder, got him his first world title. Jermell Charlo, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know when you left us, PBC took you from us. This is what De La Hoya was saying. And then this is Charlo. He said, if y'all believe that ish, you a fool. In 2012, I KO'd Chris Chapman in a 10-round fight, who was 15-1. Thank you, PBC, for saving us black fighters. Look, this is Jermell Charlo. So he on the same type of time as ERROL Spence. Back then, I could tell you how much value Oscar De La Hoya had for us. We ran in that category of let's build them up and tear them down. But little did he know I was a conscious fighter ready to prove my worth. The risk was greater than the reward. He had 1,000 excuses, blah, blah, blah. Here it is. Told you. Let me tell you something that motivated me. When I was with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, they never signed my twin brother. And I always wanted to be promoted by the same company alongside of my twin brother. I was told the more I win, the bigger his chances of getting signed. Someone said, glad you left that race. Oh, my dude, Heyman's Planet. Glad you left that racist company. Bro, I was here for this.
He got his. And when my brother do live in two entities as well, so I don't live with my brother, so I don't talk to him every day to know how he feel about something. I feel like I'm a man. I'm in my own territory. I got my kingdom. He got his. And when he feel it's wrong and it's wrong in mine, it's wrong.
So this is multiple. De La Hoya's trying to take credit, but this is multiple fighters. Adrian Broner did an interview with DJ Vlad. This is pretty recently too. Adrian Broner, you guys will see on the title, Golden Boy are bitches. So you built these guys, but they're calling you the B word. They only support Mexicans. Part 3. So it's looking real bad in these streets for Golden Boy. They just lost Canelo. They're getting called the B word August 14th, 2020 with almost 500,000 views. And ERROL said, I don't like the way you treat black fighters. Jermell said pretty much more of the same. They didn't want to sign his twin. Broner, these are some of the biggest stars on PBC. He said Golden Boy are some B words. You know what I mean? And De La Hoya's out here trying to act like he built these guys up and made them stars. But when Wilder was with them, no one even knew who Wilder was like they know now. You know, really weird. like I said, when people are focused on you, it's hard for them to be 110% focused on them. You know, it's just like there's YouTube channels. There's YouTube channels all the time that mention my name. I've never even met them. I've never had no conversations with them, nothing. But they got a lot to say to me. But I'm not complaining. Life is good for me. So it seems like De La Hoya would be more focused on what his next event is without Canelo Alvarez there. But instead, he's sounding like Al Bundy. For any of those that watch the Married with Children classic TV sitcom, Al Bundy is basically a father who's married. He's unhappy. He hates his kids. He hates his life. He's a shoe salesman. And one of the classic themes that's reoccurring in that show is he's always talking about some high school football game at Polk High where he kicked the winning field goal or something and won the game for the team. But that was like 25 years before he was married and stuff, when he was in high school. And you see that. You see people like, let's say some gangster from New York who in 1995, he had the streets on lock. You know, like, man, we had the whole we had the whole block, you know, on some paid-in-full shit. And they telling you about all the cars and they own the parties, and celebs would come to their parties, and they had the new Beamers and Benzes and Audis. But that whole empire got taken down and people got sent up and put in prison. And then they got out years later, decades later, and they no longer have savings. They didn't invest. You know, the feds took their money, whatever. And now they don't have it, and they just bragging about what they had years ago. That's what is reminding me of Oscar De La Hoya right now. Right? You're bragging about how you built these guys, but none of them went back to you. You know, not Abner Mares. Abner Mares, there's an interview, and I could pull all this up, you know. Abner Mares said working at Golden Boy was like McDonald's. Abner Mares, Golden Boy, McDonald's, right? Look, it's all right here. Golden Boy treated me like a McDonald's employee. Abner Mares, here's the interview, 30,000 views. Abner Mares says Golden Boy stole money from him, treated him like a McDonald's employee. Wow. Abner Mares uncut on unprofessional Golden Boy. So Oscar De La Hoya is Mexican American. Abner Mares is Mexican American. And this is what he's saying. Golden Boy, here's a video I did 2 years ago. Golden Boy kicks out Abner Mares for leaving them the best Al Heyman, you know? And this is what the fighters are saying. This is not just like, oh, ego, he's biased and all this stupid shit y'all talk about. This is what the fighters are saying. You know, the fighters are naming their kid. Berto, ask Berto. I have interviews with Berto from probably like 5-6 years ago. And he like, man, Al Heyman's a beast, bro. I got interviews before ERROL Spence was a champion, and he said people could say what they want, but I love Al Heyman. He gave us opportunities. He said you don't hear the fighters complaining. You hear De La Hoya, and see this De La Hoya is looking like a Karen because he keep talking about, like, see, this is what I don't understand about the Karen energy is De La Hoya is acting like he can't understand. He said something in this quote about, yeah, PBC, you know, they're just doing their own thing. And I don't dislike them, but you're constantly going at them. You're constantly dissing Floyd Mayweather, who helped captain that ship. You know, you're constantly hating, and you're constantly saying, oh, they losing money and stuff. Why you care what they making or losing? You see what I'm saying? But just like a Karen, when it don't work out, then you want to act like, look, he posted this picture. Just like a Karen, when it don't work out, you're like, hey, you know, I don't dislike him. Why are they acting like this? You know, but you just did Karen behavior, and you're trying to act like this is shocking to you why someone would respond this way. But you've been going at the people. You sued them when they first came out. You sued them and got the lawsuit dismissed. And he's trying to act like, hey, I just want to work and make the best fights for the fans, trying to pander to the fans. No. Worry about your fights and then what you got going on. Jaime Munguia versus Spike O'Sullivan, Jaime Munguia versus Toriano Johnson. You know, we just gonna call a spade a spade. That's what we're gonna do over here. You know, build up Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz can't do an interview without mentioning a PBC name. So you guys have to ask these questions. You got to ask yourself these questions. Why this incessant conversation, you know, minus Canelo, who, you know, he would, even when he was with Golden Boy, he didn't overly call out PBC fighters. But why would you claim credit for building guys if their whole ship, like he later says, is losing money? Why would you even want credit for that? Why would you want credit saying, hey, listen, like I said, study, listen to what people say. You're saying I built these guys, Wilder, ERROL Spence, blah, 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 because they did appear in conjunction with Golden Boy. But you're claiming credit, but then you're also saying that they may not be around in the future, and that don't make sense. Why would you want to take credit for something that's a failure? You know, and it reminds me of the great Jay-Z. Hove, hey, it's your boy. Hove got a great quote on Lost Ones. That's the song. He says, and I quote, I heard motherfuckers saying they made Hove. Made Hove say, okay, so make another Hove. And that hit different. Make another Hove. What Jay-Z said was, I heard motherfuckers saying they made Hove. Made Hove say, okay, so make another Hove. If you built me, then do it again. Make another Hove. Because I guarantee you, everything that I've been, like if I do a video production, I could redo it. Like, in fact, I had computers that didn't, you know, keep up and then froze, and then my computer crashed. So I had to redesign and redo. I didn't get to save the spot that I left off at. So I had to redo the whole edit, you know, or at least from a certain part, you know? So just like Jay-Z said, make another Hove. Instead of talking about all the guys that left, how come you haven't made nobody bigger than Deontay Wilder, and including Ryan Garcia? I think Ryan Garcia is popular, but I don't attribute the looks he's getting to Oscar. I really think Ryan Garcia is popular because of things he's doing. He beating up YouTubers and doing the body shield challenge, him and his brother showing off his speed, and he's part of that culture in YouTube generation. That's not something that Golden Boy said, hey, go in your garage with the Cobra bag and do these videos. They didn't like set up a camera crew. He's doing this on cell phones, you know, at least when he first started, and he got himself hot, you know? So De La Hoya, you know, he missed me with these quotes. He definitely missed me with these quotes. Let me know how I did in this video. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Did De La Hoya, in fact, build guys like Deontay Wilder and ERROL Spence? Like I said, these guys weren't even, ERROL, I don't think he was even a champion. Yeah, he wasn't. He was a champion in the Kell Brook fight, and that was a premier boxing champs fight. So ERROL wasn't even a champion. He was fighting whoever, Barreras and Lartney or whoever at the time he was with Golden Boy. So, you know, I can't relate to what De La Hoya is saying. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. Ruining boxing, different things like that. Now, what about the people who have criticism against PBC? They say Al Heyman's ruining boxing, different things like that. I mean, you look sharp. You're always at the events, get to cover or go to the fights. So what do you think about Al Heyman and the PBC structure?
I mean, people say what they want, but it's the fighters complaining. You don't see fighters complaining, but you see fighters driving in Ferraris and Lamborghinis and jewelry and nice clothes and stuff like that. So
Jewelry, you say? What
jewelry, shoes.
You got the shoes?
The fighters not complaining. I can see if the fighters was complaining, then that'd be something. But the fighters not complaining.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.